We've never really been interested in going to Greece. It sounded hot, tiring, crowded, hard to get to, just not our thing. But we ended up going on a family vacation in Turkey, and we thought, well, here we are, we're in the area, why not? Why don't we just go see Greece, get it over with, and then we can just move on and do something else. So we ended up going to Athens for a couple days. And then we wanted to pick a place that was on the water, because if you're going to Greece, you got to be on the water. You got to do what everybody else does. So we picked Nafplio. And the reason we picked that town is that it was only a little over an hour drive from Athens. And for somebody who gets violently seasick, that sounded like a pretty good option. We ended up booking a really, really little cute travel apartment about 5 blocks from the waterfront. And it was just so cute. It had been recently renovated. It looked like a little 5-star spa apartment, and it ran only a little over $100 a night. So we thought, wow, you can really get a lot for your money here in Nafplio. And so then we walked down, about maybe 5 blocks to the waterfront, and it was beautiful. Blue waters, not too crowded. The weather in April was fantastic. A little bit of cool breeze, just lovely. So we thought, well, okay, maybe this isn't going to be so bad. And we had heard that there's a really nice walk along the coast. So we thought, well, let's just try that. Let's just walk a little bit of it and see what we think. And it was a very broad, tiled pathway, just beautiful. And we started walking. We went through past little swimming lidos and restaurants. But then we got to a gate across the path, and we're like, oh no, this is one of the few things in this town that really caught our eye. But it turns out you just scooted around the little gate and kept walking. It was probably, I'd say about a kilometer, maybe a kilometer and a half. Right on the rugged coast, you could hear the waves, and you could hear the gulls. It was so beautiful. It was like quintessential Greece. And we ended up liking that walk so much that we took it every single day that we were there. So then we thought, well, let's explore the old town. Maybe it'll be okay. And it turned out to be absolutely phenomenal. There was lots and lots of buildings. It was unusual in that it wasn't higgly-piggly medieval town. It was more on a grid, so it was easy to navigate. It was flat, which is very unusual for a lot of small towns in Europe, but especially in Greece. And it would be perfect for somebody with mobility issues. And so we ended up just loving to explore all the little nooks and crannies of the town. Lots of cool shops, lots of great restaurants. And what was also nice, there was some really neat museums to see, lots of history there. It had been occupied by the Ottoman Turks, the Venetians had been there, so there was just bits and pieces of all those different cultures. So we visited 2 fortresses that are located on the mountains overlooking Nafplio. The first was Palamidi Fortress, which was used by the Venetians between 1686 and 1715. Many people take the approximately 1,000 stairs up the mountain to the fortress, but surprisingly, we decided to drive up to the top. The history and the architecture was very interesting, and the views were spectacular. We took the maze of roads and sidewalks up the mountain to see the other fortress, which was the Nafplio Castle, which is actually made up of 3 different castles starting in the 4th century BC. It's not as developed, but it was just lovely, very interesting architecture, and as in the other fortress, the views were just spectacular, and it was free. We checked out the City Museum of Nafplio that is located right on the main square. It was very small, but it was a very high quality artifacts that were all found in the Nafplio region. And fortunately, all the captions and descriptions were in English too. The Nafplio War Museum was an attraction we really weren't too sure about, but we took a risk, and we were glad we did. It was fascinating. Staffed by Greek soldiers who were willing to talk about Greece's difficult past, but we're very, very proud of their country and happy to talk about the future that they look forward to. On a lighter note, we visited the Folklore Museum in the downtown of Nafplio. Very relaxing, just very lovely. It was artifacts and costumes from the Peloponnese region, which Nafplio is located in. Just a great place to go, and if it was hot, it'd be amazing. Well, the moral to the story of our travel time in Nafplio is it's really good to try new things. We were so glad that we took a risk, and even though reluctantly we ended up going to Nafplio, it was probably one of the most beautiful towns anywhere that we've been anywhere in Europe. It was just wonderful. The people were friendly, the food was amazing, the water gorgeous, and the attractions were just spectacular.